So there are many different ways to start with Germany, and each will lead to incredibly different games. Today we're going after one of the most challenging but potentially rewarding ones, a 1936 war against the Allies. First, let me remind you that we have some other 1936 early war strategies for Germany on our channel, so the links are in the description, go check them out. Now let's see how to set up the 1936 war versus the Allies. Please note, to pull this off, you don't need the free division editing mod, but it does save a little time not to have to keep changing templates throughout the war, so I've used it for this recording. The first three things we need to worry about when doing this strategy are going to be industry, research, and combat bonuses. First off, we'll convert a ton of civs to mills, but we don't have to worry about the economy because we'll get all those back through focus trees and conquest. The big problem will be keeping up with equipment demand and maximizing our combat bonuses, so we'll research the industrial techs and techs that provide bonuses to combat. Additionally, with our political power, we're going to get the advisors that provide benefits to combat first. After, of course, spending the first 50 political points we get justifying for the war on the Czechs. First advisor should be Schorner for the dual bonuses on attack and defense. Next we'll want to get Runstedt, and the third should be Beck or Halder. Don't forget that we need to spend some of our command power, those red phones there, for field marshal bonuses. I think breakthrough for modal is probably the first important grab, especially since Runstedt already gives recovery bonuses to us. When setting up our production, let's remember we're going to be fighting three relatively strong countries in 1936, so we're going to be bleeding equipment fast while getting strategically or logistically bombed regularly. I've also created a mountaineer and cavalry maneuver force to help break through when we're in poor tank country, and a couple of those cavalry will go back the tanks up too, I guess. Now, one thing I did forget, odds are the enemy's going to attempt a naval attack at some point, so we need defenses on our coast. We'll start off with 12 of these land rear guys. That should work out, and once they're deployed, we'll set the priority to reinforcements only and begin the war. Since we wanted the industry focuses faster, we didn't occupy the Rhineland, and now we're moving into defensive positions against France. We should be able to hold them easily enough. We did end up losing this little bit of the Saar here, but we're holding. Funny enough, this is exactly what the French did in the real war after Germany invaded Poland. Of course, they didn't quite get this far back then, but, you know, I'm confident. With the invasion, our goal is to cut part of the enemy off from supply. Right there in the east of Prague is probably our best bet, because that'll trap the most enemies away from the capital, and our tanks have kind of got through here already. Fortunately, it looks like they're reacting, bringing some troops to plug the gap. This is why the mountaineer and cavalry maneuver group is important. We get a breakthrough in the east here too, where those mountains are, as long as we save this encircled unit here. Yeah, now we got them right where we want them. Okay, surrender should come quickly. Okay, phase 1 is over. We gained some resources, got our factories back that we converted, and now on to phase 2, Romania and its oil fields. The Romania part, I think, is the trickiest part of this whole strategy. If it's done fast enough, England might not get involved, which could actually be bad since it means fighting them later. Also, the war against Romania is difficult from a supply standpoint, and also from a lack of equipment reserve standpoint. We've been fighting so long we don't have equipment. We've researched logistics, so we'll increase production of support equipment and get logistics to our frontline units. So our first assault failed as I expected, so we're just going to retreat to our fallback line and try again once better supplied. Now that we got some new supplies in, let's try again. A good push here, but not keeping the momentum up. So as you can see here on the left, we're having a hard time keeping up with equipment losses. Some of that's the supply problem, but even the factories are quite a bit behind. Guess we'll have to pull back again until we get the equipment from Austria after the Anschluss. Okay, we'll get the Austrian mountain troops and cavalry added to our maneuver group. We'll scrap the rest of these guys for equipment. That'll give us a surge of equipment, and then we'll get Hungary into the Axis. But again, we'll leave them out of the war. Okay, now the equipment and reinforcements are getting to our troops. The enemy is spreading out along their border with Hungary, just in case. So we're making some great gains here. That's the bulk of the Romanian army surrounded. This one's all but over now, I expect, as long as those guys don't get out. Going to need some rubber soon, so let's crank out the refineries while we wait for the Romanian surrender. And there it is, surrender, finally. Okay, now it's time to clean up our eastern flank before rolling on to France. So, Poland, away! Poland ends up being pretty quick, though we did manage to lose a couple of encircled panzer divisions right at the off from some odd frontline movements. What are you gonna do? A quick war does mean we gained plenty of infantry equipment, though, so that'll help replace losses, along with the Polish industry that we got. Next to the Low Countries. We're still deliberately not calling Italy or Hungary yet, so France doesn't fall before we get there. And there goes the Netherlands after 6 days. Going to pause here a sec and remind everyone to please like and subscribe. Help a little channel out, guys. And, you know, help me make my wife happy here. Okay, now that we're waiting for the next justification, we'll start our naval rearmament. This is a bit later than I normally do it in other strategies, so hopefully we'll be able to trick the British into not defending the coast as much. Also, we've got a third field army, finally. That'll help back up the tanks and grab Paris here in a bit, hopefully. Well, that's a first. Paris has fell before Belgium did. Don't think I've ever done that before. Time to bring the other Axis into the war, so we'll expand the front into Africa this way, hopefully getting the British land and naval forces to move away from the homeland into the Mediterranean. Now we just stay on top of the shifting fronts and realign our offensives as needed to speed things up. There's the French surrender. Okay, on to Phase 4. This will hopefully be our end game as long as America doesn't join. Phase 4 is going to set up for the invasion of England, but we can't just invade right away, alright? The bulk of our forces are going to have to defend Western Europe, because we don't have enough land veer yet. The next we're going to prep for the invasion of the Nordlands. Denmark by land, Sweden by sea. We need a few more ships, and we need the British to waste some resources in Africa. So in the meantime, we'll use our best troops to take the Nordlands in order to position ourselves for northern invasion of Britain from Norway, which we're going to secure after these other two countries fall. Naval invasion in. Alright, so we're going to flood it with infantry and panzers while the other panzer group comes over from Denmark. Sweden folds pretty quick, and we've already begun justification of Norway, so we're going to line up to capture all the cities and ports quickly. While waiting to march across Norway, we're just going to grab Luxembourg 2 and all its juicy fuel stocks. So now Norway is out of the way. Here's the problem we face. We don't have the equipment to raise the troops we need to hold it. So the only way we have to defend it is to take out Britain now, especially before America comes in. So we'll prep an invasion from Norway to Scotland. Now, unfortunately, I totally forgot to do landing craft development. So yeah, we may pay a price for that if we haven't gotten enough British to move to Africa. While we wait for the invasion to prepare, we'll defend Norway with our subs. It's worth noting that I'm only just now starting to upgrade the tanks, produce radar ships, battle cruisers, carriers, so none of those things are going to be in this actual invasion. So even though the Wehrmacht is still about 70,000 rifles short, we're going to head off to invade Britain. We're going to wind up surviving on all our bonus techs and advisor bonuses right now. And of course our land and air doctrines are almost all finished too. Now that we have a toehold, we'll send the rest of the army over and the maneuver group to join them. We're losing some subs, but the Navy's still good. Capturing an airbase, so here comes the Luftwaffe. Maneuver group's going to handle cleaning up the north. Main army's going to go down the south. Let's bring over Guderian's panzers. That'll help take the west ports. So we've managed all this and still don't have Engineer Company 2 or flame tanks. So we really have to capitulate the British before they re-naval invade behind us. Normally I'd bring over some landwehr to defend the ports, but in this strategy you can't build nearly as many units as I'm used to because you're just grinding equipment out the whole time. Luckily, they still have troops and ships in the Mediterranean, so at this point it's just a massive onslaught that they can't possibly stop alone here in England. And there you go. All the allies have now surrendered. So it's peace conference time, woo! I won't force y'all to watch that, but here is a little bit about how it ended up. Alright, so the Anzacs and New Guinea have been split between ourselves and Italy, and a little bit of a Kiwi state there in the north. We hold the German East Indies and the Malay territory as well. We've liberated Scotland and Northern Ireland to join us, took England, France, the Low Countries, and the Nordlands. We also have the German Raj, German Pakistan, German Bangladesh, and German Burma. Vichy France got to keep Vietnam somehow. Good job on that, I guess. We took the Dutch Oil Island in the Americas, and we've even puppeted Canada as well. Man, that guy looks evil. Kind of like a Nazi version of Vincent Price. Well, odds are it can be done a lot faster than we did it this time, but I'd say defeating the Allies by October of 1939 is still pretty good. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.